Hello and welcome back to Kinsley Custom Guitars. And I just wanted to start off this episode real quick by saying thank you to all you guys out there who watched these videos. My channel has not seen this amount of growth in a very long time, and I really appreciate you all. I'm not doing this for the views, I'm just doing something that I'm passionate about and seeing if anybody else out there is interested in doing what I'm doing, which it seems like there is a good number of you guys out there. So thank you all for all the likes, comments, and subscriptions. It means a lot to me, and I'm going to try and continue producing as many videos as I can. Obviously, these pawn shop rescue videos are kind of dependent on when I can find a deal, so this isn't going to be any sort of regular content for this channel. But I do have a few other projects that I would like to work on coming up in the future. Just depends on when I can find time in the schedule. When last we met, we had just put the pickguard back in this guitar with all the electronics hooked back into it. Today, we are going to be working on the neck. Now, as we saw in the exposition episode, part 1 of this series, which all of these are in a playlist now, by the way. So if you want to watch the whole thing from start to finish, there is a playlist on my channel page. You can find it there. I'll also have links in the description below. We got this neck off of the guitar, and we did find that there is a bit of damage, specifically right here at the 3rd fret. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do much about that. I just don't have the lacquer that they put on these things. This skunk stripe is also sticking out of the back of the neck a little bit. We've got loose tuners, and the neck was not straight in the last video, or I guess in the first video. But today we're going to see what we need to do to fix this guitar neck. Over the weeks that it was sitting disassembled and I had taken all of the tension out of the truss rod, the neck has flattened back out for the most part. There's still a very small amount of relief in this neck, but I think it's enough that it is savable. And I have also off camera put a pretty hefty clamp on this skunk stripe and clamp down on it into the neck, and it does not move. So it is still glued up. It is just the shrinkage of the maple around that walnut stripe, probably due to the extreme temperatures that this guitar was stored in. For that skunk stripe, I have decided not to pursue fixing it at this time, simply because I don't have any means of spraying more of the lacquer that they use on this neck on there. That's the only reason. It's really not enough of a bump that it's gonna catch your hand while you're sliding on it. It's definitely noticeable, you'll feel it, but it's not enough to hamper your playing. So why don't we start off with a quick clean of this neck. Alright, I wanted to stop the time lapse because I found something interesting that I haven't seen on another neck before. There is lacquer, overspray, runoff, whatever you want to call it, on this fret is pretty bad, this fret too, but almost every single one of these I'm noticing now has some of the lacquer oversprayed onto the fret. Alright, so interestingly enough, the neck was by far the dirtiest part of this instrument. I know necks are always filthy and gross when you clean them after they haven't been cleaned in a while, but the body for this guitar definitely looked like it might have been in worse shape than this neck for cleanliness, but it just goes to show white makes everything look dirtier. So The neck is now clean. We've still got a lot of that lacquer on there, but I want to see how much of that lacquer is left after polishing the frets. So to do that, I have a set of fret erasers that go from, I believe, 200 grit to 2000 grit up here. So we'll be stepping our way through those. And I've got a fret guard. And that just goes on the fret like that. You hold it on there and you do what you need to do to the fret, and you don't mess up the finish on the neck. In previous videos, I have not used these, but every single one of those has been on a dark colored fretboard with no glossy finish on it. I trust my hand enough to not mar up the wood on a rosewood or ebony fretboard, but I don't trust it enough to not mar up the high gloss lacquer that's on these maple fretboards. So I will be using this fretboard guard. So, and in case you don't know how to polish a fret, I'll just pick one right up here at the 12th, since it's right in front of the camera. Open up your erasers. And these things smell atrocious, by the way. Like, think the big pink erasers from school times 10. Like, they smell nasty. So we're just gonna grab that and we lay the guard over it. And then we just polish up the fret, run it back and forth. Then you take your next highest grit and you go over it again. And each stage you go, it progressively gets shinier and shinier. So that was 200 and 400 grit. Now we're on 1000 grit. The shine should start coming out. Obviously, this is something you want to do after you do your fret crowning and dressing and all that. But for right now, we're just doing basic maintenance to get this guitar back on its feet and playing music again. And finally, 2000 grit. These frets weren't super dull to begin with. Yeah, you can kind of see it in the reflection on the camera right there from the light, that this fret is brighter than any of the other frets around it. Like I said, these frets aren't terrible. They're not super, super dull, and they don't look silver anymore. I have seen some that are barely even silver looking, and after a polish, it almost looks like a brand new guitar. But it does definitely make a difference, and it's good practice to polish these up. It just makes the guitar look a lot nicer. So I'm going to cut to a time lapse of me doing the rest of the frets, and I will be back in just a second. Okay, that's all of the frets polished up. They are a lot shinier than they were before. They look pretty dang good. I got most of the lacquer off of them. Not all of it, but it's not something that's really going to be noticeable when the guitar's together. So next up, we're going to tighten down these tuners. So let's get this moved in focus, and we are just going to use that same wrench that we were using in the last video, or 2 videos ago, sorry, to pop off those volume knobs. I'm just going to roll that in there and righty-tighty them. That's all tightened down, and I do believe we are ready to reinstall this on the body. The guitar is once again together. And my, is it looking so much better than it did when I picked it up. So I think right now we are going to put the vibrato block back in the guitar because the next episode is going to be setup. We're going to put some strings on it. We're going to set the action. We're going to set the tremolo. We're going to set the pickup heights. And then after that, it's going to be done and it'll be ready to play. Let's get this in real quick. Tremolo is reinstalled. All right, I think that's where we're going to end it today. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate all the views and love that you guys have been giving the channel lately. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think of the progress of this guitar so far. Let me know if you've had any similar experiences with rescuing a guitar out of a pawn shop and fixing it up. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next episode. Take care.